All right, I think we're live. Go ahead and test that out, Matt. Camera's on you.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Oh, that camera. Yep. Yeah, we're good. I see red dots, so that means we are live, and we are back for another episode of Let's Talk Fish.
Hey, we got noise.
What we got sound.
We got sound.
We're live. Knock on wood. Everything runs smoothly. Brian did tell me a few minutes ago. He said, "Can we cut the show a little short tonight?"
Yeah, I apologize.
I'm calling you out, but Brian walked in here looking like he'd been looking like he'd been smoking something. But it's his allergies. I'll go ahead and tell y'all.
Yeah,
it's his allergies.
I mowed grass yesterday. Like, I was good up until yesterday. I finished mowing the grass. I weed eated, trimmed the driveway. And it's been just, hang on, let me turn my sound on here.
I didn't know where that was coming from.
I remember my first time.
So anyways, after that, it's been Zyrtec, Benadryl, Flonase. There ain't nothing working, so we just having to deal with it. So I apologize to anybody in my vicinity if you get snot on you tonight.
Well, that's why I'm 6 feet from you.
All right.
That's our rules anyway.
It's
in
not,
this day and
you
age.
can't. It's not contagious. I don't think I can give you allergies.
I already got allergies. I think Tyler and Jeff already have allergies. Pretty much
But
everybody's got allergies.
it's terrible. So, y'all, I apologize for the sniffling and sneezing that may come along with the show tonight.
So tonight's topic.
I'll try to turn my head.
First of all, we have a pretty awesome giveaway. Brian actually called me.
We do have an awesome giveaway tonight.
Yeah, he called me about, an hour ago?
Yeah, probably about an hour ago.
By the way, man, I got a code for a free pair of Costa sunglasses tonight.
Hey, that's pretty good.
That is a good deal. Like,
So-
$300 gift code plus a gift code for free shipping. So it won't cost you anything.
So you got two different codes.
Two different codes, one for $300 and one for free shipping.
Up to a $300 value.
Yeah.
So basically, it's going to be to the winner. This is for our trivia giveaway at the end of the
I don't even know if we got a question tonight.
I got a question.
Okay, Matt's got a
It's kind of lame, but
That's a shocker.
yeah. Who comes up with the questions? 125 shows deep, I've come up with 122 questions, and you always say they're lame. Y'all are more than welcome to come up with the question.
I got one.
Okay. Anyway, back to the more important things we are giving away a pair of coasters tonight of your choice, and you will get a code for free shipping, which I didn't know about.
Yep.
Save you another $5.
I text it to you so you'd have it.
Oh, did you text it to me?
Matt doesn't even look at my texts. I sent him. I'm used to this, actually.
I do look at your
Like, I called him today to invite him to go fishing. He wouldn't even call me back.
I do look at your text. All right, let me tell y'all something. Costa, so did you get the new Pro Series?
I do. I love the new Pro Series, especially the fantails. Those are my favorite. That's what I've been wearing all year this year, the fantail pros and the silver sunrise or silver sunrise mirror, whatever. What's it called?
Sunrise Silver Mirror.
Sunrise silver mirror. Yeah, there you go.
So the lens that Brian just mentioned and the green mirror are my two personal favorites. I'll use a sunrise silver mirror kind of in the low light, early morning conditions, and even in the afternoons, or if there's cloud cover. But when that sun's high and bright, I'll use that green mirror. Now that's just me.
See, I still like the
You just keep it on all
sunrise
day.
silver mirror. Yeah, I wear them under all light conditions just because the contrast is so great. Like, if you're fishing dark water, clear water, that contrast from light bottom to dark bottom, or vice versa, dark bottom to light bottom, you can just pick out that contrast a lot better with that brighter yellow lens of that sunrise silver mirror.
I feel so bad for you because I'm watching your nose
It's
start
terrible.
beading.
It's terrible.
Poor Brian, he's over there dripping.
Yeah.
So the Pro Series, what we're talking about, if y'all aren't familiar, they only make it in a few frames now. I'm sure they'll expand out. But the difference in the Pro Series, and they make a Pro Series in the Tuna Alley, which is personally my favorite frame. There's a couple different ones that I wear, but the Tuna Alley is my favorite. They have vented and basically fully adjustable nose pad. So for kind of more of a custom fit, they've got kind of a hooding. They've got a hydrolite deal. They've got metal keeper slots. They've got different things that make this.
They just beefed up that Pro Series all around.
Basically, yes. And they've got side shields too.
Yeah.
So the side shields on the side of the frames, which is a really, really big deal to anybody that fishes or sight fishes, or whether you're on inshore saltwater or freshwater fishing. That's a big deal because all those side shields do is they help block more light.
Right, and that's the good thing about the design for most of those all the Pro Series style of frames is they block all that light, like Matt's saying. You know, the days of having to put your hand up beside your glasses to block that light coming in from behind you are over. Like, you don't have to do that anymore with the new Pro Series.
Yep. So we're going to, all right, ending the show, trivia question. We're giving away a free pair of Costa sunglasses of your choice. And I'm just going to throw that little deal out there. We talked about the Pro Series for the last 5 minutes. If you're smart, you might want to check out.
Yeah, I would definitely check them out.
The Pro Series. So, all right, let's jump into the topic. Well, before we jump into our topic, which our topic tonight, you saw the title was spinning out. You know,
I've been doing that a lot here lately.
We're going to talk about getting into the mind of a pro, and is it any different than every other angler on the planet, and how do we react to situations when we lose a big fish or when we get sidetracked, so to speak, or we start spinning out.
Start spinning out. You know, what to do when you go from catching them to not catching them all of a sudden.
Correct. Yes, 100%. Or when it's towards the end of the day and you don't have 5 fish in the box and you know everybody else does, and or 40 fish in your case.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that, but let's do you just got back from.
At least in yours, you have an idea that maybe everybody does, but there's a chance they don't.
Well, yeah, that's true.
In my format, I know they do.
There's always wishful thinking.
Yeah. I know that there's no surprises when I go to weigh in because I already know what everybody's doing.
And you know better. Like at this level, when you're not catching them, you're in trouble.
I mean, to a certain extent. I mean, there's always 2 or 3 guys that's going to catch them. Doesn't matter how tough
100%.
it is.
They're going to catch what lives in that lake.
How deep that goes down into the field, will let you know how good they're biting.
Right. And I'm gonna make a little quick rule, which everybody probably does, but to be eligible to win those Costas tonight, you have to be subscribed to our YouTube channel, because at this point, all our live shows are on YouTube, and if you're not subscribed to our channel, then you just.
How are we going to know if they're subscribed?
All we got to do is look them up.
Okay.
Because all their names are right here.
Okay.
We'll make sure they're subscribed. Don't be subscribing after you win either, because go ahead and subscribe now, and then we'll check it out. We'll follow up, but let's give a quick wrap up.
I don't know how none of that YouTube stuff
Well,
works.
give a quick wrap up on the
Lake of the
Ozarks BPT event you just got back from, and kind of tell everybody how it went down, because obviously sight fishing was a huge deal in that tournament.
It was.
And kind of your approach and how that tournament went down. Then we'll talk about our main topic.
Okay, so Lake of the Ozarks BPT event, I ended up not doing very well at all. I didn't make the first cut. Got to come home 2 days early, which is never fun.
That's bittersweet, though, when you got a family.
Yes, I mean, it was nice to get back to my family. And plus, it rained literally every day that I was in Missouri.
Y'all did have some crazy weather.
It was crazy. But that's no excuse for not catching them. So in practice, I was pretty much made my mind up it's going to be a spawning event. So I went around, looked for spawners the whole 2 days of practice. And I found a couple, like nothing that I was real excited about, but I found enough I thought I would be in decent shape. And the first day of the event, we have this huge, ginormous thunderstorm, like pretty much right at takeoff. And we end up delaying takeoff for 15 minutes. It rains like 7 inches in 20 minutes or something like that. It wasn't that much. It was a lot. And I ran to like 6 of my bedding fish. And of course, the first 2 I go to, there's, another boat on it fishing another tournament. So I run to some more. And as luck would have it, all the ones I found were in little drains that had run-ins. So the rain from 30 minutes ago had muddied it all up, and I couldn't see any of them. And I couldn't get them to bite blind pitching. I tried that. So I pretty much scrapped that whole game plan, and I sat down and I thought to myself, there's 10 million docks on this lake. That used to be all I knew how to do, was skip a jig under docks. So I'm going to pick up a little jig and I'm going to go skip it under some docks. So
I like that idea.
I thought, this is a good plan.
Docks, jigs, and Ozark Lakes,
Yeah.
this time of year go together.
Right. That's what I said.
Period.
That's what I said. So I got my jig. I've got my little 3-inch air crawl on it. Got it on 15-pound P-line fluorocarbon.
Now, you weren't skipping the football jig, were you?
No, I was
Okay.
skipping a shooter jig.
Okay, got you. Old school shooter jig.
Old school shooter jig. It's like I used to do 20 years ago on Lake
That's
Wiley and
right.
Lake Norman.
That's
like
right.
This was old school jig fishing. So anyway, I pull up to the third dock I go to. I slide my jig under the walkway. I get a bite and I set the hook and I catch one almost 4 pounds.
Ooh.
And this is kind of midway through the first period of my first day. And I'm like, all right, I know how to do this. We're going to be good to go. And then about 45 jig bites later, I've caught 3 more 2-pounders. Like,
And you're throwing a regular half ounce.
I'm throwing a
shooter
regular
jig.
half ounce, not a little mini jig. I'm throwing a man's jig.
See, that doesn't happen. Like
Right.
That
That's
just
what I
that
said.
shouldn't happen.
So
And you can't stop doing that
no,
when
you
you're getting
can't.
bit like that.
Like when you skip a jig under the walkway of a dock and the line just falls slack on the water,
Mm-hmm.
like pretty much every other dock, you're like, one of these is going to be a big one. I'm going to catch 4 or 5 good ones. I'm going to be in good shape. But
I'd have
after
been right
40
there with
more
you.
bites, I've got 3 more 2-pounders to go with my 1 4-pounder. And I'm way down in the bottom of the field. And, me being such a savvy pro,
Savage. Did you say savage?
Savvy.
Pro? Oh, savvy.
savvy. Me being the savvy pro that I am, knowing good and well the first day I caught 40 or 50 on a jig and didn't catch but 4 scorables, I'm going to go do it again on a different area of the lake because they're biting it. So I go do it again and I catch 50 more on a jig and I have 4 scorables once again. And I don't finish quite last, but I'm close. I think I ended up like 60 something. But it was a fun event as far as getting bites. goes.
Yeah,
it was insane. It reminded me of Lake Norman from 6 or 7 years ago when there was 10 laying under every dock all the way around the lake. Like you could get that many bites. I never really dialed into a pattern to target those fish over 2 pounds. And I don't know if it was a pattern or if it was an area, like you just happen to pull up in the right cove where a group of them's pulled in to spawn, or they're pulled in staging, getting ready to spawn. And if you just run enough stuff, you run into them. That was the mentality I used. I'm like, if I go in enough of these pockets, I'm going to go in one pocket that, there's going to be 2+ pounders in. That didn't happen.
So
There's
while
a lot
you
of
were-
pockets.
I would have been probably right in the same boat, because if I'm getting that amount of bites on a jig on docks, a half ounce big man jig, so to speak, there's no way I could have quit doing that. But to watching from the outsider looking in, just asking you, when you were fishing these docks with jig, were you looking for bedfish?
Oh, yeah.
Throughout too.
Yeah.
And you just weren't seeing keepers, or you weren't seeing them in areas you were in?
I weren't seeing scorables on the bed. Like I
Okay.
was seeing a lot of bedfish, but I wasn't seeing any that I was 100% sure that were 2 pounds. Like actually one funny story you say that mentioned bedfish now. The dock I caught the 4-pounder on, there was a bedfish under the walkway of that dock. I don't know if that was the female I caught on the jig, but anyway, I put my Minn Kota Raptors down after I caught the 4-pounder, and I'm sitting there looking. It's like, oh, there's a bed right there, and it looks like it might be scoreable. So I messed with it for like 20 minutes and caught it, and it weighed 114. And after that, I was like,
That put a
nah.
bad taste in your mouth, yeah.
And that was early. So I'm thinking, well, I'd rather skip this jig under a dock and maybe catch a 4-pounder than waste 20 minutes on one that's not scoreable.
Yeah,
So that's what we did. And, as far as getting bites, I don't think I've ever set the hook that much in my life in 2 days. It's absolutely full of fish. Just, I never got around the right quality. So I wouldn't change anything I did. I mean, I actually, I fished different areas of the lake all 4 days I was there, just trying to run into them. And, I'm sure guys did well fishing some of the same stuff I did. I don't know if I just didn't slow down enough to get those blind bed fish to bite, or just I was so dialed in on that dock bite that I wanted to fish as many docks as I could. So I was kind of zipping around pretty quick, and just didn't work out.
We Ryan Sowers has a question about you trying to reweigh any 114s or 115s.
Oh yeah, I did try to weigh. Every time I catch one, if it's within 2 ounces, I reweigh it.
You reweigh it, yeah.
And I've never had one gain weight. Some reason that never happens to me. Happens to a lot of people. Actually, I've reweighed fish before, like a big one, like a 5 or 6 pounder, because I know it's big, and I'm like, man, that fish looks bigger than that. And then I reweigh it and I lose an ounce. So that usually happens to me.
Yeah. You talking about in your BPT events?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't think if it was a 5 or 6 pounder, I'd reweigh it because I'd be scared to death.
Yeah, I did.
Because you're just thinking it's got to be an ounce or two bigger.
Yeah, just try it.
And you lose an ounce.
Yeah, I mean, when you got a big one, you don't really care that much. I mean, you do care, but you're like, hey, let's reweigh it just to see.
Just to see.
Yeah.
Curiosity
A
kills a
1
cat.
ounce decrease on a 6 pounder is not as detrimental as a 1 ounce decrease on a 2 pounder.
If a 2 pound minimum, yeah. Well, yeah, I could say that. True. All right, so let's jump into our topic. Real quick, I leave Friday for Lake Fork, so I'll be gone 8, 9, 10 days, whatever. But when do you leave again?
I leave the 1st of June to go to Watts Bar.
Oh, you got a good little break.
Yeah, we got a good little break.
Yep.
So
Okay.
we'll spend some quality time at the house with the family and
Nice.
hang
Nice.
out, fish around the house a little bit. Hadn't got to do that. That's something I've been missing because, Matt and myself, we usually fish quite a bit around the house, but our schedules have been so busy this spring. Like today was actually the first day I've fished around the house all year, and I may be wrong, but you've only been maybe once or twice all
I
year?
wasn't even targeting bass when I went.
Right. So we haven't got to fish around the house any. So I'm gonna try to terrorize some local bass for the next couple weeks.
Amen. I might even jump in
Plus,
the back
I
of his
just
boat.
picked up my new Ranger 520R from Angler's Choice and got it back from the wrap place and got it broke in. So today was my second day on the water with it, and
I feel
loving it.
privileged. I'm gonna get to ride in that boat in a couple of days.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I may take my old one.
Tyler, he's already thinking about kicking me to the curb.
No, I may take the old one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, either way, I get to ride in Thrift's boat, so it's always an honor when he'll actually take his boat.
Are you going to at least retie this time?
I'll retie before the tournament starts. Do I have to retie during the tournament?
If you need to.
Nah.
I'm going up on you this year.
Retying's overrated.
$20 for every fish you break off
20?
this year. I'm going up on
What
you.
if you break one off? Let me guess. It's 10.
None.
Oh, yeah. See, I don't.
Well, if I break one off, it's not going to be my fault. If
Of
Matt
course.
breaks one off, it's going to be his fault because
100%
he's
my
probably
fault.
too lazy
And
to
let me
retie.
guess. If you break one off, it'll still be my fault.
Most likely.
Probably, yeah. Are you going to bring a net?
Oh, that's a good. I don't know if I got one.
I don't have a net anymore, dude. I gave mine away. I got
don't
a
even
cart
use
net.
my
I got a
live
cart
wells.
net. It's got like a 12-foot handle.
Like I've got my valve on my live wells turned to closed, and it's been there all year. I don't even know if it'll open.
You got tackle in there?
I used to, yeah.
Well, how about taking tackle at least one side of those live wells?
I might.
I hope we need a live well. Yeah, we might jump in a little Thursday night derby. Brian and I grew up fishing these Thursday nighters. Anybody hadn't watched the show in the last, 3 years? We've talked about them enough, but we grew up fishing these Thursday nighters, and we fished one last year, right? One.
Yeah, one.
I
think that's all.
Brian might have fished one or two without me, but I only fished
Not
one.
many, maybe one or two.
And this, if we fish Thursday night, it will be the first one we fished this year, and it could potentially be the only one we fish this year.
We can probably squeeze one in July or August.
Yeah, as long as it's before deer season, I can make another one.
Oh my God.
All right, we can. Let's jump into our hot topic tonight, because this topic is a. No, I'm not going to leave another cigar burn in Smoke's new. Well, if he takes me in the new boat, I might bring a whole bunch of cigars
No,
just for fun.
you're not allowed. No Swisher Sweets in my boat for
No
Matt
Swisher
anymore.
Sweets
None.
in Brian's boat. Every
No,
once in a
I
while-
don't mind anybody else, just not Matt.
Not Matt.
Not Matt.
The one time we were out there fishing on a Thursday night that I smoked a cigar. I like to smoke a cigar every once in a while, okay? Every once in a while. And I don't know what I did,
Burn a big old hole.
but
in
I
the
burned a
carpet.
big old hole in his carpet. And he had just had his Ranger
That's
recarpeted.
That was the bad thing. Like I had the boat sold. It was going to a new owner the next week. I just had it refurbed, new carpet, cleaned, everything's good to go. Looks like a brand new boat. Matt gets in it, burns a big hole in the carpet.
Ryan Sowers remembers that. It's funny he made a comment about it. Nunley 03, you thinking, he asked me if I was thinking offshore or shallow at Fork. I think there's going to be a combination of shallow and deep fish. The water's really low at Fork. I'm just hoping I don't destroy
You're gonna
my
like
boat.
that.
I just hope I don't destroy my boat. But
No, you're gonna like that.
I'm sure the fish will probably be ganged up pretty good. It's getting a little bit later. It's supposed to be like record highs next week. I think it's supposed to be in the mid to upper 90s at Lake Fork, which is nothing new. You know, wherever we go, we can just one extreme or the other as far as weather.
Right.
It's either going to
I
be
can
like
talk
a
about-
hurricane or a heat wave.
I can talk a little bit about Fort County. I mean,
Well, as long as you don't like give me no tips or waypoints
Right.
or something. Of course, it's public. So.
right. So, only thing I was going to say is make sure you save your trails, because with the lake as low as it is, you can run pretty much anywhere and just dodge what's out of the water.
Well, that's what
But
I've got.
let me-
It's still hard. It's easier said than
No,
done.
it's defined lane. Like there's channels.
I've got all the lanes, all the.
Yeah, but there's places that are cut. Like you can tell the timber's been bulldozed over. That's not on a channel. It's not marked on a lane.
Just pucker up and roll, Tyler.
No,
That's
I
what he's
mean,
saying.
but it's
he
like
gonna get me killed. What he gonna do?
Well, if you're riding down the lake and you see, I don't know, 500 acres of timber.
Don't run through it.
And there's a 40-foot wide section going right down the middle of it in a straight
You're
line
good.
where there's not a tree.
You're
You're good.
good.
And that is not on anybody's lane card, or it's not marked. But it's definitely been cleared before the lake was flooded. You'll get a lot of good trails while you're there for when you go back.
I've got a lot of trails from a chip that I got a couple years ago, but it's actually one of the Lowrance, the new C-Map chips. I've got the trails marked on there with red X's. And last time I was there, which the water was full pool, last year when we were there, it was good. It was very accurate and good. But you're just trying to get me to destroy my Ranger.
Listen, if I made it through the back of Flat Creek at Lake Palestine, running from the bridge to the back every day, you're fine on Fort.
Okay. All right. Okay, so let's jump into what's up, Colin. Thanks for joining in. We've got almost 100 on here. Don't forget, at the end of the show, if you weren't on here earlier and you didn't hear us say that, tell your buddies, tell your wives and your family members that we're giving away a pair of Costas. The more of y'all that are on here at the end of the show. Now, you got to be subscribed to the channel to win, but whoever gets a trivia question right first tonight gets a code for up to $300 value of Costa sunglasses.
And a code for free shipping.
And free shipping.
And free shipping. Like, it's free. That's as free as it gets.
It's as free as it gets.
I mean, it really is. Like, a lot of times you might get a code for some free product, but then you're paying $5.99 shipping. This is as free
That's
as
true.
it gets.
That's true.
It's straight up free.
All right, we're climbing up into the hundreds now, so we broke 100 and we're rocking and rolling.
Let's see, Alan Coe. I did not go to Norman today. I actually went to Moss today. So
Yeah, he went to Norman. If he'd have gone to Norman, he'd caught 70, but he went to Moss and he only caught 63.
I don't think I caught
How many
that
did you catch? How many did you catch today?
If I had to put a number on it, I would go.
That means a lot right there off the bat.
No, I would go 19, 20.
Pounds? Or
No,
fish?
no, bass.
Okay.
Maybe 12 pounds. 12 and a half.
So you got? I mean, can you take me somewhere Thursday to catch a bass?
I can take you where you can catch a bass. I can't promise he's going to be keepable.
Keepable, scoreable, keepable, keeper.
Yeah,
What is
either
it?
way.
Is it 14 inches, Tyler? Five fish, 14 inches.
14.
Still.
Are they
of
still
shorts
on
are
5
biting
or
right
they
now,
went to
though.
3 yet?
A lot of short fish biting.
Yeah.
Story of my
yeah.
life.
A lot of them like this.
Yeah, well, that's like a 9-incher.
Yeah.
Oh,
A lot of them.
just don't take me to those places. Take me wherever the keepers are
Well,
biting.
if you throw right here, if it's 9 inches, if you throw over here, it's 2 pounders.
All right, Mike Anders wants to know what's working at Moss Lake right now. Do we want to say because we got to fish? We got to fish against.
I'll
something.
be glad to tell you, Mike.
All right, Mike. He's gonna hook you up. Brian's got a fresh. This is as fresh a report
This
as it
is
gets.
as fresh of a
He
Moss
literally
Lake
came
report
off the lake
as it
today.
gets.
Now, Tyler, plug your ears because Tyler might be fishing Thursday. No, Tyler's not even fishing Thursday.
So I caught 6 or 7 on a chrome Mickey Rambler, just going down the bank throwing it, and I caught, 5 or 6 on a jerkbait. I caught
I'm trying to add this up. When you get to 19, you'll have to stop lying.
Yeah. I think that's the only 2 moving baits I caught any of. All the rest of them were on a 4-inch Mickey stinger.
Imagine that. Imagine that.
That's a bite getter, dude.
It is a bite getter.
Like
It is a
one
bite
place,
getter.
there was a bunch of them. I caught like 3 or 4 in a row on the Rambler, picked up jerkbait, caught 2 or 3, and they quit biting, but I could see them on my Humminbird Mega Live, and I couldn't get them to bite anything, so I picked up the little 4-inch stinger and caught like 10.
Buddy Black just said they're going to 3 fish this Thursday.
Oh, God.
Is that right?
That's not good for us,
I
man.
do not
I
know.
hope he's just messing with me. I don't like that.
They usually do that in the
Yeah.
summer, but
I
I
mean,
don't know
it's
if it's
been
got hot
for a
enough
couple
yet.
days.
It's May.
But it's been hot.
The water, you said the water was 72 degrees
It's
out there.
72.
72 degrees, and they're going to a 3-fish limit. I ain't got no words for
I'm
that.
good with it.
I got no words for that. Well, you better just skip over them 10-inch holes in.
Yeah, we're gonna have to catch big.
All right, I'm tying on all tater hogs.
Oh,
I'm
God.
tying on
we,
all
we
tater.
still got to catch something.
You don't think they bite that stuff?
They will bite that stuff, but I don't know if we can get a bite on it in 3.5 hours.
All right. Oh, Larry done made it official. He said last week. He said people been bringing dead fish in.
Oh yeah.
If you're bringing, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. People might, if you're bringing dead fish in April in the South, unless you tongue hooked it, gut hooked it, killed it
Carolina
on
rig
impact,
hooked it.
you need to be kicked in the cheek. but my point is, that's just lack of taking care of your fish. Fact, I mean, look, we got all kinds of things.
I don't know. I mean, they could be caught on a Carolina rig.
No, that's an exception to the rule. I said, but if you gut hook a fish, if you hook him in the tongue,
Yeah.
he bleeds out. But even if you hook him in the tongue, I will tell you this. I use a lot of TH Marine products, use some G juice
yeah.
and things like that. But there's a lot of things out there that you can do to take care of those fish. Okay, there's oxygenators, there's
Carbonated yellow drink like Sundrop or Mountain Dew.
We've talked about that.
Yeah,
on
we
the
did a whole
before.
show on that.
And it works. And just
Stops the bleeding.
pay attention, guys and gals. We need to take care of our fish and use every resource available to take care of those fish. I don't think there's any excuse for weighing in a bunch of dead fish in April, but unless
I
you know,
mean, some things can happen. You know, if you have
Right,
battery
right.
issues, I mean,
I get
some
that.
things are unavoidable. But
I get that. If you weigh in one dead fish because he's hooked in the gut or the tongue,
I like
or-
to think most anglers now are pretty conservation minded.
they are.
I give everybody the benefit of the doubt.
They
Y'all are
are.
doing
Well,
a great job.
I'm just going
great
off the
job, guys.
I'm just going off this comment that people have been having a lot of dead fish, so he changed it to a 3-fish limit earlier than normal.
Yeah.
You know, to me that's saying if it's been happening this early in the year, then that needs to be addressed. Needs to be addressed.
I agree.
We need to take care of them. But all right, let's get into the brain of a professional angler. We got one here with us tonight. His name's Bryan Thrift, and we're going to talk to him about what happens.
I got
when-
brain fog. I got so much allergy medicine in my head right now.
When he spin, you might already be spinning out.
I may fall asleep on the table. I don't know how many Benadryl I took about an hour and a half ago.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot.
But it's working.
We talked
It's
about this. We talked about this earlier on the phone, and I said, Bryan, I think I got a pretty cool topic. I said we're gonna talk about spinning out on the water and getting in the mind of a professional angler and and things like that. Because there's seminars and there's teaching and there's magazines and there's all kinds of resources that we can learn from, but the decision making on the water obviously is one of the biggest things that separates a professional angler to me from a weekend angler, right? The decision making.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even go as far as to say the decision making, because it doesn't matter if you're a professional or an amateur. You can make 1,000 decisions in a day, and 999 of them be bad, and one of them be good, and you can look like a genius. So
so elaborate
I
on
think
that.
it
though.
goes more onto the confidence in the decisions you are making.
Okay, so that and that reflects versatility.
Right.
All right, so we're going to elaborate on that. So I'm going to give you an example. Like I'm 13 or 14 years deep into my professional career. You are about the same.
Yeah.
Exactly the same, basically.
Yeah, we started in 2007. So
All right,
we're,
so that's easy enough.
yeah, we're like 15 years in, Matt. We're getting old.
There was times.
We're no longer the rookies. We're
correct.
We're the veterans.
We're
now.
actually considered veterans.
We're considered the veterans.
That does
now.
make me feel old. First
Golly,
4, 5,
me
6,
too. I just now thought about that.
even making you feel old.
Yeah. God.
Even up until I don't know 5, 6, 7 years ago, there was a lot of things that I did during a tournament situation, and I'm just going to give you an example. The first couple of times I fished Beaver Lake as a professional angler, it wasn't intimidating. It's a very, to me, all the Ozark lakes are very patternable. They're very easy to read. They're very good lakes. They're full of fish. You get lots of bites, and it's easy to
duplicate that bite. Like
correct.
pattern,
Yeah,
like
correct.
you said.
So Running around, the first time I ever fished there as a professional, I think I want to say I finished 100 and something. It was bad, like 100, like down in the hundreds.
Oh, yeah, me
Didn't
too.
get a check.
I think I finished 95th my first time.
And I would go out and I'd catch a bite or two. You know, I'd catch a fish or two, get a bite or two, doing something that I didn't practice. And I would run down the lake and I would see something over there that looked similar, but I haven't fished it yet. I haven't been there. I haven't marked it. I haven't grafted. I haven't whatever. And I'd just keep going. But I'd think about it, but I'd keep going.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know,
that falls back on lack of confidence.
lack of confidence.
Yes.
So that's why I said we're going to elaborate on exactly what you just said, because I think the biggest thing is Brian said 1,000 decisions. Well, okay, that might be
Far-fetched.
a little far-fetched.
Yeah, like
but let's just say 30.
turn it down to 30. 30 is a good
decisions,
number. Yeah.
okay? And that's a realistic number. That might seem high to some of y'all, but going into a tournament, the worst thing you can do is rely on everything that happened in practice. When you go to practice at a body of water, I don't care how much experience you have there or how little experience you have there, in my opinion, you need to just be looking for ideas and options.
Yep.
You don't need to be looking for bites. You don't need to be looking for exactly where the fish are at that moment. You don't need to be. You need to be looking ahead at a couple things. You need to be looking at the weather forecast. You need to be looking at the time of the year. You need to be looking at water clarity, and you need to start getting ideas and act on those ideas during the tournament. Meaning, the heck with where you had bites in practice. The heck with what you got confidence in because of how your practice went. The heck of what happened
But I
the day
mean,
before.
you still got to start out with that.
Well, sure, but
Yeah.
I mean, if you got a place where there was 150 bass and you caught 7 of them in 7 casts,
Right.
everybody's gonna start there.
Right.
But don't rely on that 100%.
Right.
Don't get caught up.
Don't
in it.
die with it. That's the main thing we're trying to stress is, you know, that's where the spinning out actually comes into play. I mean, just like we said, you've got a place where you caught 100 or there's 150 bass there you found in practice. You pulled up, caught 3 on 3 casts, shook 2 or 3 off and left, and you're all excited. You get there the first morning of the tournament and they're gone. What do you do, Matt?
Oh, you throw it out the window.
Exactly.
You just throw it out the window and forget it ever happened. That is much easier said than done. But,
It is.
but that's what we're
Especially
talking about.
when
like,
you're sitting on a big goose egg.
the more free that the more open you can keep your mind, the more free you can fish. And versatility obviously is a big key, because if you're not a versatile angler and you only like doing 2 or 3 things, there's only a handful of guys in this entire world that actually
Make
made a
that
career out of 2 or 3 things.
Yeah.
And it's because they won 4 or 5 big tournaments.
Yeah.
But you know, like a Tommy Biffle or maybe a Denny Brower.
Right, Denny Brower, I mean, he was going to flip a jig. Didn't matter where he was.
Correct.
And he made a living doing that.
And
I mean,
he made it
and
work.
I kind of look back at, you know, from the mid-'90s to previous in the history of bass fishing, and then from the mid-'90s to now being more modern-day bass fishing, and you don't see one-trick ponies anymore. Like, can you
You
think
really
any?
don't.
I mean, pretty much every angler, every professional angler on every tour is very, very versatile that can pick up
The ones that
something
last anyway,
Right.
you know.
I mean, they always, you know, they might have 2 or 3 things they're better at and they enjoy more and they try to push the envelope on. But, you know, if they see a situation come up where they need to change gears, do something totally different, they're just as comfortable doing that as they are their favorite technique. And
To your point, you know, people get misguided with some of the professional anglers out there, and I'm going to use Jason Christie as an example. So Jason Christie is probably known as like a shallow water power fisherman, but let me remind you that he has won smallmouth tournaments.
Yep.
He's won tournaments flipping. He's won tournaments chunking and winding.
Yep.
He's won tournaments snapping a tube on St. Clair.
dirt dobbing with a spinnerbait. I remember he won an elite event at Bull Shoals, and I don't know what he was doing previously, but the last day he caught schooling fish, and that was just like,
Yep.
just he happened upon it.
It was an instinct. He saw it. He capitalized, and that's going into making those decisions on the water. This is the advice that I can give everybody. 10 years ago, I'd be running down the lake. I'd see something. I'm like, that looks good. I should go over there and burn a spinnerbait or throw a topwater, whatever. I got it in my mind, and I just keep on rolling. So anything you see, if Plan A is not working, which let's be honest, 9 times out of 10, Plan A doesn't work.
Plan A never works.
Plan A never works.
I mean, never.
act on every thought that enters your mind. Act on every single one of them. Because if you're confident, like Brian said.
Yeah. Even if you only give it 10 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're confident and you're efficient and you're versatile in what you're doing, then you don't even need 10 minutes. You need 5 minutes.
Right.
You know, and you run over there and you act on that thought and it
get
doesn't
that
work.
one key bite.
Yeah, you get one key bite and then it dials you in the rest of the day and you win the tournament, or you don't get a bite. Let's just say worst case scenario, you don't get a bite. So what?
Right.
So what? Big deal. You spent 5 minutes doing it, and you're not going to have any we always say hindsight's 20/20. You're not going to have any regret. So, that's the best advice we can give. But what do you think the biggest difference is? Which you came right out of the gate firing, and you've had a lot of success from your rookie year all the way up until now. But the biggest difference, you're 42, right?
Yes.
42 years old, okay?
I think.
And I'm 41, and
we'll
we've
go
been
with
doing this 14 years full time. From your rookie year to today, what do you think the biggest difference in your mindset is?
The biggest difference, the thing that took me the longest to learn was, if you look back at my first couple of years on the FLW tour, I was either in the top 10 or below 100th. There was no middle ground. I couldn't salvage
No consistency.
a tournament. There was no consistency. You know, if they were doing something, well, I mean, we'll go to the one trick pony. That my rookie year, the only thing I knew how to do was skip a jig under a dock. Like, that's it. Like, that's what I did. If a lake had docks on it, I was going to skip a jig under them, and I was going to do good. I mean, very first event I fished as a professional at Lake Travis, I finished second, skipping a jig under docks. I think the very next lake was Beaver Lake, and although it has docks, the only thing that lived under them at the time was walleye. I finished 100 so.
I remember that. Was it you that told me you skipped a jig under a dock, caught like 3 walleye in a row out from under
I
one?
mean, like 8 to 12 pounds, like giant walleye.
Big one. I bet it's a good bite, too.
Oh, yeah. That's when Dad was still alive, and we had a lot of walleye that week.
Oh.
Yeah, it was insane.
Good eating, though.
But the biggest thing that I feel like I've learned since then is just being versatile and having the confidence to, totally abandon what I was doing or what I want to do because it's not working, and go do something totally different, or go to an area of a lake that I haven't even looked at before. That's something I find myself doing a lot in the Bass Pro Tour since I joined it, because we only get 2 days of practice, and you're on a huge lake. There's no way you can look at all of it. And, if I find a little bit in practice but not a lot, I'll start on that. And after an hour or two, if it's not working, I'll go somewhere I've never even been on the lake before, just to see what it offers, and, give it 2 or 3 hours to see what I can find and try to put together. But
this is something I wanted to bring up too. I have buddies ask me all the time, and I'm sure you do too. They'll say, I'm going to Kentucky Lake, or I'm going to Lake Norman, or I'm going to High Rock. Do you think I should concentrate on the lower end, the middle, or the upper end? And I think a lot of people have these thoughts in their head that they need to just focus on one section of the lake. But if it allows, and the lake's not 50,000 million billion gazillion acres, you're not on Lake Erie or something like that. I'm saying, why are you already, in your mind, you're already setting boundaries for yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you already putting these boundaries, these imaginary boundaries out there? Like, if you start on the dam side of the dam end of High Rock Lake,
right,
and it's not working, it takes you 15 minutes to run to 85,
right,
20 minutes. Like, don't ever mentally talk yourself out of something before it ever happens, because
that's one reason I have so many rods on the deck of my boat. Even if I'm dialed in on a dead on pattern where I'm gonna most likely throw one bait all day or 2 baits all day, I've still got 10 or 15 different rods rigged up with other baits just in case, because you don't ever know. And when you're in a tournament, it's all about being efficient. You don't want to waste time digging a rod out of the rod box. I know it only takes a minute or two, but that's 2 or 3 casts. So I have everything there ready to go for whatever situation I feel like I'm going to encounter during the day. Even if what I'm wanting to do doesn't work, I've got plenty of options.
So I'm going to throw out an example. we were fishing an FLW event on Lake Hartwell. And this is Casey won this one fishing docks. He was fishing docks, ditches running under him with a shaky head and jig. It was a tough event, right? It was
I
tough.
think I finished last in that one.
Well, that's rare. But anyway, that's it was really tough to get 6 or 7 keeper bites a day if you got that. And I started, I was fishing the Tougaloo, I was fishing the Seneca, I was fishing 6 and 20. And I had in my mind, like I had this little deal figured out way up the Tougaloo. I thought I could catch 5. And I had found this one dock. One day in practice, I spent some time on the very, very lower end next to the dam. There's a few pockets down there on the right before you get the dam. It's got some docks in it, okay? Below Lighthouse Log. And there's a couple docks that have some deep water in front of them, yada, yada, yada. And I had this one dock where I had a bite on, and I pitched back in there and had another bite, okay? But I didn't have anything else going in that whole area.
Right.
Well, I was fishing way up the Tougaloo. It was day 2 of the tournament, and I was in the position that if I caught 5, I was probably going to get a check. Like 11, 12 pounds a day did good.
Very good.
I think I had 11 pounds the first day, and I needed 10 or 11 pounds the second day to get a $10,000 check. And I'm up the Tougaloo, and I'm a good ways up the Tougaloo, up there towards 85, and it's just not working. I've got 4 fish in the boat, and I'm struggling. I'm working hard all day, and I've caught 4 keepers, and they're not big. You know, I've got like 7, 8, 9 pounds. And I'm like, you know what? The heck with it. It's just, it ain't happening. I bailed on that spot, and I ran, it was over 20 minutes from where I was at, all the way to the dam to fish one dock. And I caught a 2.5-pound spotted bass off of it.
Yes, sir.
And I got a $10,000 check because of it. And those are the decisions that a lot of people are like, it's too far out of my way. It's not going to work. It's not, you second guess it a lot. But then when it works, like you said, you look like a hero.
Yeah, you look like a hero.
But if I hadn't have done it, when the
you would
tournament
have
was
been
over,
thinking the whole time, like, man, I should have just went down there.
the whole time. And I mean, it was I had a lot of confidence in this dock because of the way it's set up, right? And I pitched a drop shot in there. In the first cast, I caught 2.5 pounder. I thought I was going to catch another one off of him. Never got another bite. But I ran all the way down there. As soon as I caught that fish, I was like, man, that's the best decision I've ever made in tournament fishing. And I mean, it was over a 20-minute run to fish one dock. And, back to our point a minute ago, like I get, buddies that ask me, they're like, I'm going to Lake Hartwell for a tournament. Should I concentrate in 6 and 20? I'm like,
why?
Like, just look at all of it.
Why limit yourself to that one area?
Right. And keep an open mind, because if you get on something way up the Seneca, it may not work during a tournament.
And the cool thing about bass fishing is that, like, say you do get on them, like you're just mashing them. You know you're going to win. You're going to catch a giant bag. Like, in practice, go look for something else. Like, there's always somewhere better.
100%.
Doesn't matter how good you're catching them. There's somewhere that's better, and there's always a better way. That's I think, the reason I fell in love with bass fishing in the first point, because it's always evolving, it's always changing, and you can never find the best thing on the lake. Like, I don't care how good you are. You may win the tournament by 20 pounds, but I guarantee you there's a better way and a better place to catch them even than what you did if you won the event. And it's just it being that constant learning process. Every couple years, new techniques dominate. So you can really never, get to the top and stay there. You've got to constantly change and constantly learn. And that's what drives me and what gives, pretty much why I love the sport of bass fishing is because you're always learning. You can never stop learning.
Yep, absolutely. So a couple questions we'll jump in on. Keep sending the questions, y'all, because we'll jump on a few questions here in a minute. But I'm gonna jump on a couple right now. Scott said, "Will Livacy's saltwater bone super spook play at Fork coming up again?" I'm sure there'll be a topwater bite. 100% you're going to see some topwater play at Fork.
Oh,
it's May, sure. So topwater will play somehow, some way. Braxton Sperlin said, "How long?"
That's a good question.
Yeah, how long should you ride what you were doing before you make a change? So how long should you keep on? Because that goes back to the Lake of the Ozarks event for you.
Yeah.
What you're doing and the bait, the approach, the targets you're fishing, the bites you're getting. That's rare to me. That something like that happens and you're not catching.
That's what
keepers.
I thought.
But
answer
that question for Braxton.
How long should you ride what you're doing before you make a change? My general rule is Well, let's start from the beginning. So first off, you've got to decide if you need to make a presentation change or a location change, because those are the two big factors that, pretty much determine whether you're going to catch a bass or not. If you've got the right presentation in the wrong area, it's no good. But if you're in the right area with the wrong presentation, it is equally no good. So you've got to determine what you need to change. And that's something that I don't think anybody can tell you. Like, I can't even tell myself what that is, because I don't know until I'm in that particular situation where I need to, make a decision. But my general rule of thumb is pretty much everybody knows, the patterns of a bass, what's typically going to work at certain times of year. And that's pretty much what we all do. And to me, it's more about a location change. I feel like if I'm around the fish, I can figure out how to catch them, but I've got to find where the fish are at. Said my general rule of thumb is 15 minutes. If I go in somewhere and I don't get a bite in 15 minutes, I'm gone looking for something else. And if you'll start paying attention to this, 90% of the time when you change areas, when you go to a new area of the lake or a new pocket or go somewhere new, you usually get a bite within 5 or 10 minutes. And then it seems like you go 30 minutes without another bite. I don't know why that is. It's weird, but it works. So I give myself 15 minutes, and if I hadn't caught one, I'm going somewhere else. Even if I don't make a long run, say I crank up my idle to the other side of the pocket, or, idle out to a point, or run a mile or half a mile, I'm going to make some type of location change if I haven't had a bite in 15 minutes. And that keeps me covering water, and it doesn't, just get me in the monotonous casting mind frame where I'm just throwing at nothing, going down the bank, just being monotonous and not really putting forth a lot of effort or making myself make decisions.
Keith Wood, that's funny. He said he watched Thrift roll up to a spot on land and make a half a cast and then leave the entire area. So half a cast is the magic number.
Sometimes half a cast is all it takes.
So Matt the angler asked, he said he's never owned a pair of Costas. Well, you ain't lived until you've owned Costas. It's spelled with a C, by the way, Matt, not K. But at the end of the show, we have a trivia question. If you're the first one to answer correctly, you will win a pair of Costa sunglasses of your choice, up to $300 value. Oh, yeah, with free shipping, as in Thrift was so kind to add earlier. Yes, I need to mention that, Ryan. So we lost a legend, an icon, somebody that Brian and I watched
Pretty
since
much
we were
the pioneer of
bass fishing.
tournament
bass fishing.
Tournament bass fishing.
Yeah, Ray Scott passed away Sunday, peacefully at his home. I believe at the age of 88, if I'm not mistaken, which we can only hope and pray that we all live to 88. But that's...
Sorry, I wasn't laughing about that.
No.
I was reading the comment. I'm sorry.
I know. He said, Ryan wanted to know if we have any fond memories of Ray Scott. Ray Scott, to me, all I hear is the sound of his voice over and over again, because growing up watching TNN and
Right.
Bassmasters, just the cowboy hat and the voice, stand out to me more than anything. I don't have a specific moment.
I don't think I ever physically met Ray Scott. Like, I don't think I ever...
I can honestly say I've seen him.
right, I think I saw him a time or two.
I
but don't
believe
think
at the
I've
Classic in 2004 at Lake Wiley.
Yeah.
He might have been at the weigh-ins and all that. I think I saw him there, but I've never actually been able to have the pleasure of shaking his hand. But just like Brian said, what he's done for the sport of bass fishing. There would be no Bryan Thrift Fishing, Matt Arey Fishing, Let's Talk
Right.
Fish, Bassmasters, BPT. He started professional tournament fishing in the United States, and he's the reason that we have the opportunities that we have now. He had the vision to start a tournament trail at a top level where guys could actually pursue a career in professional
Right.
bass fishing. And, Bassmaster obviously was really the only thing going in the 70s when he was very active with it. And that was, what he did for our sport. It goes unsaid. It's priceless. It's the reason we're sitting right where we are.
He is the founder.
That's right. He's the godfather of bass fishing, bass tournament fishing, professional bass fishing in the United States, and a pioneer, a legend, and we'll definitely be missed. But somebody that I always looked up to, and like I said, his voice will echo in my head. Him and Bob Cobb's voice will echo in my head for the rest of my life. But yes,
That's what we grew up with.
Absolutely. I mean,
Now,
I
I feel bad for the guys starting fishing now because they got to grow up with Dave and JT in their head. That's terrible.
Mercer and
Have
Kenny
you thought about that?
and Marty, the party.
Think about these young anglers that are growing up listening to JT.
They don't
Kenny
get
and
the
Dave
Bob
Mercer.
Cobbs and the Ray Scotts. They get the
Yeah.
JT Kennys
Oh
and the
my
Dave
God.
Mercers. I don't know if I could. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually fear for where the sport of bass fishing.
And we
gonna
wonder
be in
what's
20
wrong with our
years now.
youth.
Yes.
No, we love Kenny. We love Mercer. Those are some cool cats. They're good at what they do. That's for sure. But yeah, that's right, Daniel Jones. Bass fishing would not be what it is without Ray Scott.
That is fact.
Phenomenal man. But all right, let's.
That would have been a good trivia question, Mike. He asked how many crankbaits did I lose under that bridge on Hartwell on the boulders the first time the FLW tour went there. I ended up finishing third or fourth, and I pretty much caught every fish I weighed off of the little bridge in Gumlog on a crankbait. And I don't know how many I lost, but it was upwards of a dozen, I would say. Upwards of a dozen.
I need to go scuba diving.
Yeah,
where that
and
rock
this was
is.
back in like 2010, so this was a good while back. And, you know, this is when Lucky Craft was the most expensive crankbait you could have.
They're all Lucky Crafts. Everyone you lost
Every
was a
one
Lucky
of them
Craft?
was a Lucky Craft
You're
crankbait.
probably the only man in that tournament too that had 13 of the same Lucky
No, I
Craft
only had
crankbait.
like 6 of them. I actually had my buddy go to the tackle store and buy me like 7 or 8 more.
Who was that?
David Hendricks.
Oh, okay.
He
David
actually
did it.
drove them down for me. He on the Great Outdoors in Cherville, and he
Drove them down to the
He
lake.
drove them down there, and it was either David or Tyler, one of them. Anyway, they met me halfway and brought me some crankbaits, and then I proceeded to lose all of them the next day in the tournament.
Did you break them off?
Yeah, man, I couldn't
It's
go
like
get them.
I'd charge $10.
Like I was, there were
break
so many
off.
crankbaits on that one rock. I was probably getting hung on my crankbaits
Ryan
instead of
said,
the
"Were
rock.
you retying enough?"
Yes.
Okay.
Like I was getting hung and like breaking them off because I didn't want to go get them and mess it up and all that.
Thanks, Chris, for the congrats. Jeff said he's just jealous of that can of Sundrop sitting there. He said he hadn't
It's
seen.
delicious. I'm about out. That's how I know the show's about over.
Jeff, where are you located? Because he said he hadn't seen any Sundrop in his neck of the woods in months. We've got to figure out where Jeff is. Might have to send him a Sundrop, Brian.
We can do that.
Brian's probably got a pretty good hefty supply in his shop, if I had to guess.
I need to get some more.
You need to get some more Sundrop?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, they sell it around here.
Yeah, I know.
All right, let's take run one more question. We'll take 2 more questions.
All right, 2 more.
Y'all send in a couple questions real quick. I'm gonna take one from the bottom and I'm gonna take one from the middle here. How hard would it be to change locations, say in an open, where there's a couple hundred anglers? Well, you know that adds a whole new variable to tournament fishing when you are sitting on a 30,000, let's just say a 30,000 acre lake, 25,000 acre lake, like a Lake Norman or something, and you've got 300 tournament boats out there. So that goes back to confidence. Wouldn't you say, Brian? Like what he's asking is if you're in an area, caught a fish or two, and
Like
you're
I
plan
think
A,
I see what like he's like. Say you're on a lake that's like with a very high number of boats tournament. You know, you got 200 or 300 boats on the water the same day in an event. And you know, what if you crank up and move, change locations, and you get where you want to go, and there's already a boat there. So that's something that happens a lot. You know, actually happens a whole lot, especially with as many boats as there are on the water now. I mean, maybe not even us in an event with other competitors, but you know, just people fun fishing, because there's so many people fishing now. You pretty much just have to look for open spots, you know, that, and something like that can actually be a blessing in disguise, because a lot of times I've actually won events and had really great finishes fishing places nobody else would fish because it didn't look good. But you just kind of pick up on what everybody else is doing and maybe try to key on a little bit different type of structure or something like that. And a lot of times it works out.
Okay, so we got a bunch of questions just rolled in because I made that comment. All right, so we'll take a couple more. We'll take 2 more. One from Chris Anello. Brian, your favorite part
Oh,
of
Lord.
the Ozarks besides the fishing, not fishing related, favorite part of the Ozarks, any part of the Ozarks. We'll take 3 more. We'll take 2 more after
Yeah,
this. Since
that's
it's not fishing related, we'll take 2 more after this.
I've got to say, my favorite part, other than fishing related, is I get to find out if I need new brakes on my truck or not. I mean, I guess that's a plus.
Okay.
I mean,
all right.
there's not.
That's why I said we'll take 2
I
more.
don't think there's a road in the whole Ozark region that is actually straight for longer than a quarter of a mile,
All right.
and
Okay.
that's what I think.
Good enough. This is from Rusty. He said, when the water gets dirty, how does your approach change? We're gonna base that on this time of year. Spring, water gets dirty. Let's just say the spawn's over, basically where we're at right now. And the water gets dirty all of a sudden. How does your approach change? You want me to take it? You want to go ahead?
Go ahead. I answered the last one.
You know, one thing about dirty water to me, I hate fresh dirty water. But if it's had a time, 36, 48 hours to settle a little bit, I go shallow and I go to reaction baits. This time of year, they'll bite a popping frog really good. They'll bite topwater really good. As long as it's not too muddy, they'll bite topwater really good. A big chatterbait, Brian's little signature chatterbait, could be really good this time of year. Shallow, spinnerbait. If I still think there's fish set up doing their thing, like let's just say there's still some fish spawning, I'll go to a jig, something dark, black and blue jig or something like that, and fish slow, fish wood. But if it's a postpone deal and the water gets high and dirty, I'll go to reaction baits and the chatterbait and top water if it's not too dirty, but like a black popping frog or something like that.
And I've caught them in some pretty dirty water.
I think that's a misconception that people, that is a visual bite, but at the same time, when they're that shallow, they key in on the vibrations and the sound as much as anything.
Yeah, I mean, and it's moving a lot of water. It's putting off a lot of vibrations, a lot of noise. I mean, bass are pretty good at eating. That's pretty much their only job is to eat. So they can hone in stuff. The only thing
good
I
stuff
would
there, Brian.
Yeah, I know,
good stuff.
right? I mean, the only thing I would add to what Matt said is make repetitive cast.
True.
So if you're on a lake and you all of a sudden get a big rain, the water gets dirty, you think all the fish have left. A lot of times those fish are still there on the same structure, but it might take 15 or 20 casts to the same log or the same rock to get that fish to bite that bit on the first cast when the water was a little bit clearer. Just make repetitive casts.
A legend of our sport, he's retired now, by the name of George Cochran.
Oh yeah,
was probably one of the best in the world at that. He would seek out dirty water, and he loved to throw a little square bill crankbait or something, and he would literally target a piece of wood that was half the size of this table, and he would make no less than a dozen to 15 casts at it.
David Fritz used to do the
same thing,
Fritz
and
did the
all
same
from
thing.
different angles. And sometimes in that super dirty water, it's literally got to hit them in the nose to make them react. So, like Brian said, be very efficient and be very thorough.
Yes.
All right, last question from Joe Johnson, because I saw this question earlier. Sorry, Joe, we didn't get to it. Smith Lake, Alabama.
Yep.
Typically clear water, typically a lot of spotted bass. Got some good largemouth in it too. How to catch dock fish so he can see these fish underneath the walkways, underneath the cables, I think is what he mentioned earlier. Can't get them to bite. So the best thing to target those dock fish that he can actually see but won't bite on Smith Lake. So what is your go-to bait for those fish? Some of them you're not going to catch. I'm going to tell you.
Some of them you're not going to catch, but as far as your bait selection, you're pretty limited. So if they're underneath the dock, you don't want something that's going to sink real fast and get below them. You want something that's going to stay in their face, something they can visually see. I mean, obviously your number one choice is going to be a wacky worm just because it's not going to sink real fast out of sight. But you can also try skipping a swim bait under there. I mean, that and top water, those three techniques are pretty much the only way you're going to get those fish to bite. And I don't think bait presentation or the actual bait itself is that big of a key when you've got those fish under there that you see that you can't get to bite, I think it's more about their awareness of you being there. If you can sneak up on those fish and you know where they're sitting, which way they're pointed, and you can come in from behind them where they don't see you. I mean, try turning your graphs off, cut your outboard off and troll the last 100 yards to the dock. Just try to be more stealthy, because those fish are smart. If they're up there under those docks where everybody can see them, everybody's throwing at them, they've seen every bait underneath the sun. If you can just increase that element of surprise and catch that fish off guard, you have a way better chance of catching them. I think that's the biggest thing to catching those those fish that are hard to catch, that you can visually see suspended under those docks. And then sometimes it's like Matt said, sometimes they're just uncatchable. They're in a negative mood. They're just hanging out. They're relaxing. I mean, they could either be getting ready to spawn and they're not worried about feeding, or they could have just finished spawning and they're not worried about feeding yet. They're just relaxing. That's their safe place. That's their bed, their couch. That's just where they hang out to relax and get ready to go do whatever it is they're going to do next. And some of them you just can't catch.
Yeah, I think Brian, when he touched on stealth, is probably one of the most important factors in that. It's like I'm not allowed to talk hunting, but I'm going to say
you can talk hunting.
It's like turkey hunting or seeing a bird in a field or a cutover or something. And when you can see his eyeballs, he can see you, And I like to get as far away and as covered as I can from a bass, just the same as anything else, turkey, deer, whatever, to where all I can see is inches of him, right, as opposed to his whole body. A stealthy approach is a big factor in being able to catch fish like that, including bedding fish, including suspended fish under docks, including anything that you can visually see with your own eyes. Keeping a safe distance, and better safe than sorry. If you know the fish is there, blind cast to it as much as you can before you actually slide in there to where.
Come back to that same dock or same fish 3 or 4 times during the course of the day.
Right, yeah.
You might hit that little window when they're actually feeding. They may be in a negative mood most of the day, but the 3rd or 4th time you go in there and see them and make that perfect cast, they may be ready to eat. So
yeah,
give them several different shots.
That's a great tip, because a lot of people will pull up and there'll be a fish there like on a brim bed or something. Doesn't have to be a spawning fish, but there's a lot of fish on a brim bed or under a walkway that are hanging out because of the forage that's there. And they'll be there. I mean, how many times you pull up the dock and be like, yeah, there's a dock owner there, and he's like, man, there's been a 5-pounder here every day swimming around. He's there for a reason. He's there eating, and you'd be surprised how many of those fish hang out there day in and day out. And if you hit them in that little window when they're ready to bite, man, it can be instant magic. So don't give up. If you go in there and you see a 6-pounder laying in there and you make 4 or 5 casts and he just swims off, but he comes back or he hangs around that area, come back 3, 4, 5, 6 times during the day, like Brian said, and you might be pleasantly surprised. But all right, I know it's 8:04. You said
I'm out of sun drop too.
You're out of sun drop. All right, it is time to give away a free pair of Costa sunglasses.
Costa sunglasses of your choice
with free shipping.
All you gotta do is go to the Costa website, pick out the frame you want, pick out the lens you want.
We're gonna give them
enter the code. Free.
We're gonna give them a code for the sunglasses, and we're gonna give them a code for free shipping.
Yep.
Right. All right. Cool.
That is correct.
All right. So since I'm not allowed to talk about hunting.
Oh God! Is this what's the trivia question? I already know what the question. I don't. He hadn't told me what.
Tell me what you think the question is.
All right, I'm gonna tell you what I think the question is.
All right. Now this is not the question. This is what Brian thinks it is.
It probably is the question.
Okay.
It's got something to do with turkey hunting.
It's got something to do with turkey hunting.
It's either how many turkeys has Matt killed this year, or how many different states has Matt killed a turkey in this year.
Okay, I need to hurry up and ask it. It might be a combination. So here is the trivia question for the free coasters. Because we couldn't come up with something and it was last minute, I said, I got a trivia question. I'll just throw it out there. The question is, I can't even say it now. You like, yeah, I feel like
I nailed it. I nailed it, didn't I?
I need to know what 3 states I've killed turkeys in this year. And how many turkeys total did I kill? And I'm done turkey hunting.
He's combining both of them.
I'm done turkey hunting for the year. So what you have to name or give the initials of the 3 states and you have to give the number of how many turkeys I've killed in one comment, y'all. Don't make us search 68 comments.
So they got to do all 3 states
They got to name the states
and how many birds.
and how many birds.
All right.
You already got a winner? You don't even know the answer.
Well, I'm,
Who's the
I'm
winner?
getting a lot of answers, and I don't know. So call it.
Ooh,
Matt's the only one that knows. Call it.
I see a correct answer. Is that it?
Yeah.
That the first one you saw? All
We
right.
got a winner, evidently.
We got a winner.
Who is it, Matt?
It's
Call
Buddy.
it up.
It's actually a guy that we know. It's
Really?
Buddy Black.
Really?
It's not rigged. I promise y'all. It's not rigged. But Buddy Black won. My sister-in-law was second. Imagine that.
Hey, now that don't get.
we
we're
should
gonna
have not
to-
allowed that.
We're not allowed. Family members aren't allowed.
Sorry, Leanne.
So what was the correct answer?
The
So
correct answer is, and let's see if this is the first person on your feed. I hope it is,
Okay.
Lord willing. 4 turkeys,
4 turkeys.
Tennessee, South Carolina, and North Carolina. Okay. Buddy Black's
That's the
first one
first
on
one
mine.
I see too.
Good enough. Buddy Black, you have won you a free pair of
There
Costa
was a lot of
sunglasses.
people had the states right, but the number of birds wrong.
Right. I wish it was 6.
Buddy had a Costa deal. That would kill it.
No, Buddy doesn't have a deal with Costa. No. Nope. Buddy's a buddy that we know is a good fisherman. He fishes the BFLs. And Buddy's a good buddy. Buddy's our buddy. And that is his name.
That's his actual real
That's
name.
his actual name. Buddy.
Even though he is our buddy.
Buddy's our buddy. I know. I feel weird when I call him. I'm like, "What's up, buddy? Buddy? What's up, buddy?
Oh God, what movie is that off of? You said it. You got to name the movie now.
I have no idea. You tell me.
Nobody knows.
I'm out on that too.
All I know,
That's the
one
dude
thing.
that owned a donut shop in Friday After Next.
What?
Yeah. You got me on that.
Oh God.
Jeff said he's out. Buddy swing. That's right. One on nine. All right. Congrats, buddy, my buddy. We will we'll get him the code for all his Costa needs. But so we will.
So you killed how many? 4 turkeys?
4.
That's a lot of turkeys.
Yeah, that's a lot of good eating though. Man, I got a good recipe for some fried turkey nuggets. By the way,
Matt's supposed to invite me over to eat some turkey, but
One bite of turkey.
I haven't either. I haven't either.
Just for the record, all right, we got to talk about this off the record. So we'll sign out and then we'll talk about this. We got some chatting to do. Got some good info. It's about
thought we was
hunting.
talking about turkey.
I'm not allowed to talk about hunting, so we got to sign off and then we can talk about
Oh my
hunting.
God.
All right, so we will. We won't be back next week. I'll be in Texas, and Brian will be.
I'll be leaving the 1st of June. So
1st of June.
We may. I don't know if we'll have one between your.
yeah, we got a week.
We may have a week between.
We got a
when
week
Matt
between
gets
Fork
back from
and
Lake
Pickwick.
Fork and before I go.
I have a tournament at Pickwick June 2nd through something.
Okay, that's the same week we're.
I'll leave the
Watch Bar.
29th of May to go to.
That's when
all right.
I'll leave. So yeah.
We'll have
We'll
one
be
like
good.
26th, 7th, something like that. Don't hold us to it, but whatever that Tuesday is. We'll be here in the studio, rocking and rolling again. Who knows? Maybe we'll have another Costa giveaway.
There you go.
We'll have to.
We
reach out to
always
our
have
boys
good
at Costa.
stuff. We got bait fuel last time, Costas this time.
Get KG's box away.
Yeah. KG, if you're listening, buddy, we've got your Lunkertex box that you won like 67 weeks ago, right here, and we need to get you that. So we need to get you that. All right, y'all. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. We had a lot of good viewership, a lot of good engagement tonight. I hope what we said
good
made
show.
sense. And if not, you
I
can
feel
go,
like it did.
you can go back on YouTube and watch it again if it didn't. And, hey, send us some comments on YouTube. I'm actually trying to get better. Brian still doesn't even have an account on YouTube, but I'm trying to get better at responding to comments on our YouTube
Man,
channel.
I just got on Instagram. Be patient.
You've been on Instagram for like 3 years. Do you do your Instagram?
I do.
Okay, all right.
You probably don't do.
No, yeah, I do. You're really active on it because I see you liking stuff all the time.
Well, yeah.
You like everything though, don't you?
No, if I don't like it, I don't like it.
All right, we got a T-shirt idea. If I don't like it, I don't like it.
Exactly.
If I don't like it on the front, on the back, I don't like it. All right, good enough. I believe those will sell. I believe we got something there. All right,
Oh,
so
Rusty got his bait fuel.
when we get perfect. Rusty got his bait fuel. Excellent. Thanks to Valerie Dixon down at American Bait Works for
Yes.
sending that out to Rusty so quick.
You have to give us an update on what you think, Rusty.
That's
I think
right.
you're going to love it.
That's right. Oh, Buddy. Yeah, so Buddy Black, he is a buddy of ours. And he did win the Coasters tonight, but he has literally watched every single show of Let's
true.
Talk Fish since our inception 3 years ago, and he's never won the trivia, and he's always on here answering. And this is the first time he's won it in like 120 shows. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Oh, Ryan, you just messed up.
What'd he say?
He said if he wins the next Coaster Trivia, he'll throw in a turkey hunt in Michigan.
Perfect, because Michigan turkey season is after our turkey season ends. Ryan, you and I need to talk before the next trivia
So
question.
you know,
'Cause
we have the authority,
I come up with a trivia question,
and we have the authority to deem the correct answer.
whether it's right or wrong.
I
we
won't
decide
allow
who
none of
wins.
this. Don't worry, guys.
You
I
didn't-
will not allow this.
You didn't even know the answer tonight. How do you know?
Messing up. Oh, Ryan Snowers won.
Perfect. Jeff's got this. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all
He didn't
tuning
say
in.
you could go turkey hunt, Jeff. It just
We-
said Matt.
We're
I don't even turn.
he don't turkey hunt.
I don't either.
Nah, y'all don't.
Well,
eat turkey.
he's
Turkey
been
hunt
saying he's
sucks.
going
Y'all
to
don't
cook
eat
us turkey for like 3 years. Have you ate any delicious turkey from Matt? I haven't either.
Just we're almost done. Shut up. We'll talk in a minute. All right. So when we can't go fishing, we will sit right here in the studio and do what, Brian?
Talk fishing.
That's right. We'll see y'all next time.
See you guys.
And then we're going to talk.